Hey, mister.
The payphone hangs mutely on the wall. The file cabinet stands. The drawer slides.
Your race descent has temporarily halted, but you will fall again.
I think this racist is better than the last, but the next racist will be the really good one. There always is.
Race is reality. Right to work!
Hello again, esteemed officer, and welcome to Crime.
A small mountain of colorful board game, an endless variety of source books, law books, and codices litter the table. The topmost book is titled Welkin Compendium, 2nd edition. There's also a large hardbound tome with intricate cover art, The Hunters of Catawak, Boreal Creature Compendium, and a pick-your-path adventure gamebook titled Tales of Wirral, Cavern of Velkrag. There's a box that says Wirral, 3rd edition Mega Setting Supplements Module. The side panel notes, a fantastique adventure board game, new maps and miniatures. A sticker on it displays 25 real. Nonsense for anemic Beano-clads.
If you say so, but you better stay away from those immoral occult rituals.
Large letters on the front form a title, Wirral. The colorful box is illustrated with bucolic vistas. The cover art also features odd-looking humanoids, some short, some taller, some with pointy ears, others with ephemeral wings. Text underneath the title in smaller typeface reads, 3rd edition, Mega Setting Supplements Module. The side panel adds, a sword and sorcery adventure board game with new maps and miniatures. Mysterious things rattle inside. What could they be? Dice? Plastic miniatures? A fantastical alternate world full of magic and wonder? None of that witless man from Heimdall, fascist dross, hidden behind faux realistic allegory. Wirral is no cliche-ridden apologia for colonial violence. Wirral is pure imagination. A blurb on the back reads, tired of the tedium and toil of modern life? Escape to Wirral. Leave behind e-solas and nations with their petty squabbles. Discard electricity, magnets, and boring technological widgets. Succumb to a world of high pasternal fantastique. Unleash your imagination and create an adventure of endless possibilities. Discover the terrible secret threatening Wirral. Can your band of adventurers save the world? Exactly. That's the spirit. All you have to do is read an intricate rulebook, study an assortment of maps, unfold the illustrated game board, and start rolling dice. In no time, you could be romping through grasslands with low-level characters, hunted by Iskala riders, or battling unspeakable monsters in endless dungeons fraught with danger and despair, conjuring up forceful magics to aid your quest. You pry open the box. Inside, you find a folded-up map, a small booklet, a 24-sided die, and a little plastic figurine. A reprint of a crude hand-drawn map. The top left corner reads, Lands of Wirral. The map features both small villages and mid-sized towns with odd names, in addition to meadows, forests, hills, lakes, and seas, also with odd names. It doesn't seem to correspond with anything you've seen thus far. It's not a very helpful map. A quick guide to the magical races of Wirral. Create your own hero, choosing from any of these completely unique and fantastical backgrounds. The options are in order of importance. The Welkin, the Tweog, the humans, the fairy folk, and the pygmies. The Welkin, tall, lithe, and graceful, with long flowing hair and pointy ears. They're known for being powerful magic users, but can also hold their own in a brawn-driven fight. The Welkin come with a variety of exciting sub-races. High Welkin, Forest Welkin, Lake Welkin, and Snow Welkin. But if you're not feeling experimental, a basic Welkin will always do. A grand race of industrious mountain people. They're short, stout, and muscular, and enjoy digging for gold and other precious minerals. They're also well versed in the art of combat, where they prefer to use axes and hammers. The Tweog also come in a few different sub-races. Hill Tweog, Shield Tweog, and Dark Tweog. They're just humans. What else is there to tell? They're average in all stats, and jacks of all trades. A very small race of flying people, known for being mischievous, full of trickery. They often lure people into their magical traps. There are no sub-races for the fairies. The least popular of the Wirral races, the pygmies, are short, rotund, and dim-witted. Pygmies live in small villages made of shoddy wooden dwellings. They spend most of their days tilling the earth and smoking their pipes. There are no sub-races for the pygmies. It's made from some sort of wood and has been decorated with peculiar plant motifs. You place the die into your pocket. It's always good to have luck on your side. You see a man in ragged clothes wearing a lopsided hat and wielding some sort of a firearm.
Interesting. A communard. A communard. One of the leftist revolutionaries in the anti-centennial revolution. The figurine is not a part of the real game setting. I guess someone misplaced it during the packaging process. I have a feeling the figurines are more there to set the scene than anything else.
You pick the figurine up by the base to meet your gaze. The little plastic man stares back at you, his face contorted into a disturbing shout. Then you pocket it. A colorful box with the title Wirral in bold letters. It's a board game. 6 crumbling petals rest on your palm. They're white, a bell-shaped crown.
This is the Insulindian lily, called Maybells or Lucille's tears during the revolution. Girls used to pin these on soldiers before sending them off to battle. The revolutionaries, so the communards and the anarchists. White's their color, but the custom started in the suzerain's army, so it held meaning for the kingsmen too. It's about girls and boys more than sides. Girls sending off boys who are going to their deaths, then also dying themselves in the ruins from dysentery and consumption. It's a symbol of the civil war. Yes, but not this early, not to my knowledge. It looks dried, preserved. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see.
The petals feel dry and fragile in your hand. Water flows under the channel bridge. Dark water. You rub your sides for warmth, but there is none. Inland, above the Martinez distributary, the channel that brought wastewater from the silk mills of Jamrock, and then dead bodies during the war. The wrinkled fingers of an old man crush flower petals, then sprinkle them in the stream like white salt. Wait, have you noticed there's a war veteran playing a ball game on the plaza? You should ask him about the flowers. The bullet is still safely sealed away in a plastic bag bearing the RCM stamp. The worn map features the patch your finger moved. Finally, you take the legal documents out. The face of King Freecell smiles at you. For some reason, the smile now strikes you as more forced than it did before. Comrade, as you know, this journal takes its name from Mazov's immortal expression, Du cristal à la fumée. This was his way of describing the way the rigid, crystalline structures of capitalist ideology turn to smoke under communism. But, like the structures of capitalist ideology, we too are at risk of going à la fumée, unlike many publications which are content to spoon-feed their readers reassuring drivel. La Fumée is committed to telling the radical truth, even when that truth may drive away potential subscribers. Perhaps they've overestimated the market demand for this kind of commentary. So please, if you value our radical Mazovian perspective on contemporary politics, culture, and international affairs, please consider subscribing today. Yours in struggle, the editors.
What do you expect? It was laying around the office of the Debarders Union. They're probably bankrolling the thing.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. Unsurprisingly, much of this section is taken up with articles declaring unqualified support for the dock workers' strike. You skim the headlines. Paint the harbor red and white. Martinez tames the wild pines. A city in revolt. First, we take Martinez. Then we take La Delta. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, G. Martin, accusing the owner of the Capeside Apartments of illegally attempting to evict certain communist tenants simply for not having paid their rent. One of the editorials proclaims that the more the forces of reaction attempt to crush the body, the more defiant the spirit of communism becomes. Sounds like their bodies just haven't been crushed enough yet. You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. It takes a moment, but gradually it dawns on you that Kunst und Kultur must mean arts and culture. As you leaf through this section, you come across several reviews of recent radio plays, as well as a brief artist spotlight featuring a local artist identified only as CS. The main feature, though, is a long essay titled Tip Top Tournée, a critical Mazovian perspective. This so-called artist spotlight is really just a brief Q&A, made all the briefer by the subject's evident hostility to her interviewer. The actual article is surprisingly light on details, but after skimming a page or two, you gather that it has something to do with motor carriage racing. You think you're settling in for a relaxing recap of the most recent season, maybe sprinkled with some nice anecdotes about a few of the more colorful drivers. Instead, you find yourself skimming a 10,000-word feature about all the politically problematic aspects of Tip Top Tournée. Where to even start? For one, there's the crass commercialism of its sponsorships. And then there's the practically criminal emphasis on deadly motor crashes. And that precisely is what's problematic about it. Were it not for the promise of random, spectacular violence, audiences would quickly lose interest. At the end of the day, it's the destruction of these 750,000 real racers that you're really watching for. You see, one cannot avoid the conclusion that Tip Top Tourney is simply the apotheosis of spectacular entertainment under capitalism.
Ah, come on. Can this article read your mind? A certain kind of young man reads 1 or 2 books and suddenly thinks he understands the secret structures of reality. If I had to wager, I'd say they've never even seen the inside of a motor, much less a motor race. I take whatever they write with a large grain of salt.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. This section includes a long, tedious critique of the latest round of free trade negotiations between the EPIS nations and the Free State of Semenine. You also skip over an article about heavy fuel oil smuggling along the Messina border, something about bear wrestling in Samara, book riots in Yugograd. Whoa. Bear wrestling. Flip back to that. It seems to be part of a new public fitness initiative in the People's Republic of Samara, SRV, devised and promoted by none other than President Kanajinsky himself. According to this extremely credulous account, Uncle Sport, as he's affectionately known to his people, has recently decreed bear wrestling the national sport of the SRV. Based on the description in this article, he appears to be an extremely competent and democratically elected president. It's quite straightforward. A standard match features one man, or in some cases woman, against one bear. 2 competitors, 1 ring, 5 rounds, or until incapacitation. According to the SRV's Ministry of Information, the program has been a tremendous success. Public support stands at 87%, and youth obesity and alcoholism rates are down 12% and 7% respectively. That's very much the idea. President Kaczynski has long maintained that a strong body is the best defense against capitalist aggression.
The Samaran People's Republic? No, I should expect not. Why do you ask? They're quite the spectacle, as I understand. I've heard they make the people in the front rows wear plastic sheets. On account of the blood, you see.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. It's clear you like the hard stuff, Brota. Lower intestine? The term is metabolic and circulatory system. Fascism, Brota. You're going to keep your views, right? Keep your views, Brota. There's a slow, painful growl somewhere in your intestines, knocking on your alcohol-engorged liver. It is one of betrayal and disappointment.
Vigilance officer, what can this old carabinier do for you?
There's nothing for you to understand here. It is not her death you are investigating. Absolutely not. She died of pneumonia in her bed at the age of 79. This is highly usual.
I was 22 when I returned from King Guillaume's Akira operation in the south and found my sweetheart in the arms of this wretch. I won her back. But while I was dealing with some issues,
You were like a dark cloud sucking the joy out of every living thing around you. And you hurt her. Those days and memories are gone.
The old soldier says nothing, but when his glance quickly runs over Gaston's face, there's an odd look in his eyes.
I prefer the old name, Insulindian Lily. Girls brought them to young cadets when they entered service. Wearing them on your cap was supposed to bring good luck. It used to be. But the communards were fond of them too. Call them revolutionary flowers. Bells of the revolution. You know what? No. They brought me misery, false hope, and disappointment. The revolutionaries sullied them.
But it wasn't the revolutionaries that sullied the idea for you, was it? She gave them to me too, and your jealous little heart just couldn't accept it.
She must be the woman from that picture, Jeanne-Marie again.
Enough! I can go over these matters in detail with you, Gaston. But not while we have company. So, officers.
Maybells don't blossom yet, do they?
Maybe on some remote parts of the city they do. But I think you'll have to wait for at least a month.
Sadly, no. It was the foreigners who brought them to their knees. We fought valiantly. Too valiantly. So valiantly we got licked. Should have fought dirty, like they did with their suicide sex cult propaganda and mad anarchist women strapped to shrapnel bombs. We didn't though, and we lacked caliber. God bless him, but the suzerain's cannons simply weren't big enough. This place is a damn beachhead, son. They didn't do it because they didn't like it. They had to soften the commies up first. Yes, the military coordinated amphibious landing to take back Revachol. Martinez was used as one of the 3 footholds in Revachol during Operation Deathblow in 08. The other 2 are off in Stella Maris and the Delta. This here is Blood Ground, where coalition boots first made landfall and cleaned those rabid dogs out. Most likely, we're playing pétanque on their mangled corpses.
Blood ground. You got old René going there. Like he isn't hungry enough already.
Don't get me wrong, officer. I hate those foreign dogs, but the enemy of my enemy and all that. They're the lesser evil. Damn right, son. They laid the fire of hell on the city before they stormed it. And it worked, too.
He approves of this radical approach, knows it was necessary.
The rest of the city got cleaned up, but Martinez they keep as a monument. And now the Union Socialists are practically running the place.
Well, it's your own damn fault. You, we, the coalition, Revachol, whoever you want to blame, never finished the job. Officially, the party never surrendered. Of course they still hold influence.
You don't even begin to truly understand the players on the table, let alone the specific circumstances surrounding the... What do you think?
Thinking men have opinions on these things. Present one.
I'm just so damn sorry it had to be the coalition. After 8 years of fighting those hyenas, boiling cats for food and drinking piss in the mountains, I would have preferred if the Right Honorable King Guillaume returned through Revachol, or even if that damn clan Frisel had risen from the grave and led us. Sadly, that was not the case. Instead, all that is just, holy, and beautiful in the world was wiped away, and now it's neon signs with toothpaste ads everywhere. Foreign influence peddling garbage and stupid music on the radio. This is just what the commies wanted. This was their plan all along. This is what they wanted to replace the role of the suzerain with. Damn Frissel. He was the king we couldn't protect. The Carabineers failed him, and the crown. He died in the hands of the Hyperlay, in a very public execution.
He slouches as he says that. It makes him smaller, admitting they left the king to the mob.
A true king in both blood and mind led Revachol before Frissel. He would have been better, but the damn commies drove him into exile. The suzerain is the king! Has everyone forgotten already? They forgotten already. It's no use talking to you. You were still in Daddy's balls when it happened. When we took our last stand against the filth and rode the cavalry straight into gunfire.
An extremely inadvisable strategy against automatic weapons. Be sure not to make the same mistake.
Vigilance officer, what can this old Carabineer do for you?
As Rene turns from you to his partner and back, the medals on his chest rattle and glare. He keeps his spine straight and his ribcage lifted, displaying them proudly. 2. The larger one is shaped like a cross, while the smaller medal resembles the sun. A crowned head in front of 2 crossed rifles. The medal hangs from a blue-striped triangle. A small blue star inside an orange sun. It has the word Valiance written below.
For bravery. I'm sure, but I know this uniform's reputation. You are also wondering if I got this for raping women or killing babies. Son, we should never forget our past. Lots of mistakes were made back then, but there were also lessons. Forgetting those times means the mistakes were for nothing. That all those people died for nothing.
Whoa! Sounds like you're about to open the gates of conversation. This man will literally talk your ear off if you let him wander off to memory lane.
Didn't think you had the stomach for it. Kids don't these days. I'm used to that. It's a Belle McGrave, 4.46 caliber, breech loading, Revachol made. Good weapon, accurate and reliable.
His moves are quick and precise as he first checks the weapon, then aims it at the sea. This man knows firearms intimately.
This one's inoperable. The bolt spring is missing and the mechanism is jammed shut. Still a beauty. Where did you find her? I'm not surprised. There are probably lots of forgotten wartime weapons lying around here. Back in the day, everyone had something stashed away. As for the rifle, I don't know what else to tell you. These BM-446s are an antique. No one uses them anymore. The ammunition is impossible to find. For doing my duty in the heat of battle, for looking my mortality in the eye, when men like Gaston here hid in the bushes and shot themselves.
He saved some muddy princeling who foolishly strolled into the front line in his gown of velvet and gold.
It was on the first months of the revolution here in Revachol. Unrest was spreading like wildfire. Marauders had taken most of the Couronne and were getting really ambitious. King Frissel thought he could end it all in one decisive strike. Since, alas,
The young Drisson was all piss and no vinegar, wearing a tunic of purple velvet and cockatiel feathers to battle. Even his rifle was gold-plated, shone from 5 clicks away. Can you imagine the asininity?
He really despises that Drissant fellow.
Purple velvet tunic. That isn't exactly camo.
To keep the long and bloody story short, Drisson marched us against the partisans in Coron. And when I say marched, I mean made us walk into captured enemy territory, single file, like toy soldiers, while he rode in front on his giant red stallion. The rebels were smart. They let us come real close before opening fire. Suffice to say, it was carnage. I got shot in the left shoulder and went down. Just a flesh wound. But just as I turned over, the prince fell into the mud next to me. He was missing his lower jaw. Then his horse, driven mad by the noise and smell of gunpowder, stepped on my leg and shattered my knee.
It's painful to even think about.
I grabbed my sidearm and shot the beast in the head. Then everything went black.
Capitaine Arnoux, le fléau des chevaux.
When I came to, it was all over. It was just me and Jolas Tresson, gurgling in the blood-soaked mud right next to me. The Dink had taken numerous flesh wounds and lost a lot of blood. But despite missing his jaw, he seemed hesitant to die. Tougher than he looked, that one. Right. So I grabbed the prick and started crawling. Kept going until the 59th Cavalry picked us up. Through some miracle, we both survived. And the jealous freak convinced Frissel to give me a medal for not leaving him to die in his own blood. Piece and shit. He was the commanding officer and I was on duty. Just doing my job. Shouldn't hand out medals for that. 13 months later, I received the Sun for distinguished service. It's not worth mentioning.
You sense he's downplaying it. He did a lot more than his duty. More than anyone's duty. It's in his spine, in his billowing breasts, and untarnished self-worth. Duty, medals, honor, chain of command. I like this guy. He's not a pansy. I don't like pansies. The old carabinier stands quietly like a statue, his features motionless.
What Monseigneur Modesty is not telling you is that he crawled over 7 kilometers before the cavalrymen found him and Drisant. 2 days later that was. And that even whilst crawling with a mangled half-dead prince on his back, he still managed to murder 3 rebels on his way.
Is that pride in his voice? It's deep down, but maybe even unbeknownst to the man himself, it's there.
Sorry, officer, but you're reading me all wrong. I'm a man of peace, and these kinds of bloody heroics are only impressive to men like René himself. Certainly not to me. How did you find the story to be, officer?
Bon Dieu. You and Gaston must be related. His blood runs yellow too.
Maybe, but also bear in mind, officer. They don't hand this out for anyone with a service record. Oh no, you have to get shot. Repeatedly. And you need to get your hands bloody too. Really, really bloody.
Do not speak of what you know nothing about, Poltroon. Duty is something you will never understand. Because he was a goddamn dandy. Had no business leading men or even being on the battlefield. All he was related. That's it. Royal blood alone doesn't make army commanders. He was a stupid kid, only interested in horses, hairstyles, and man-loving. Pooh! And 782 Royal Carabiniers are dead because of his incompetence. Bah! There were many such stories in those days. Many such men, too. True Revacholians. Men with backbone.
Oh yes, René, yes. Men were bigger, girls were prettier, and everyone wore the fascia. Lord, please, bring those days back, if you can.
I'm not!
getting into this with you again. Officer, was there anything else?
It is such a pleasure to see you again, officer. How may I head the citizens' militia on this fine day? Let me think. I heard someone was hanged and left on a tree for a week, but that's all I know, really. No, officers, I'm sorry, and I really would like to assist. You are both good guys. I can see that.
Then help them, you wimp. You have plenty of shoulder with the ghost caviar in the Union. Someone must know something.
I wish I could, but I just don't know anything. I always keep my nose clean and don't gossip. Everyone knows and respects that.
Respects?
I'm not even anyone.
Of course he's holding back. His mouth is so full of Union prick he can't even speak properly.
Can I at least finish my fucking sentence before you piss on it? Is that okay, René? I'm not anyone important in the Union. I just know Evrard. Everyone in Martinez knows the Clare brothers. I taught these boys human studies and history in the gymnasium.
Gymnasium. I love that word.
What do you know about history? You never witnessed history. Only heard about it years later, when it had already moved on. You don't know history.
The old soldier mumbles something under his breath and turns to face the sea. The blind leading the blind doesn't even begin to describe it, is what he said.
Let's try not to get caught in a crossfire.
Oh, in many ways, yes. Like an honorary member. I attend meetings and parties, help with little things. Evrard, Edgar, and the older debarders all know me. Oh yes. Not in the technical sense. I don't have a vote or a membership card, but Evrard keeps me on the payroll, just for the little things.
Of course he's not a member. He's not a member of anything. I knew that. He's a Weservein. Turns to where the wind blows and tries to look important. I hate this socialist rabble, but even siding with them is better than living your entire life on the fence. Never committing to anything. Pick a damn side already.
Writing work mostly. Occasionally, he needs something written, and I happen to have a way with words, people say. Oh, nothing official, I assure you. Just essays for the newspapers. About Martinez and how things are and how they could be. Evrard and I had these long talks where...
Well, he tells his little pen man exactly what to say. It's commie propaganda, plain and simple. You should be ashamed of yourself.
That's just the way things work around here. No reason to feel bad about it. No, thank you. For being consummate professionals. You'll have this case wrapped up in no time. Sweet, sweet Jenny. Of course, officer. Sure, officer. No.
This coin-operated viewer is facing southwest. Its coin slot is full of fossilized bubblegum.
Probably some kids.
A simple but clever solution to ruining a coin-operated viewer. This coin-operated viewer is facing south. It has given up all its secrets. Your money disappears into the coins. The curtains on the lenses shift. The ghost shark. It looks as if it was about. Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here.
Trying to sneak up on me again? Trying to snuff me out? Get away, pig!
Hello, sir. How is the investigation going? Found any curses yet?
Oh, that's great! I hope exciting adventures lie ahead.
And maybe you can help Mother become less afraid.
It's the type of book where there's a rich lady and she has to choose between the good man and the bad man. Or there could be a story about a poor lady getting a rich man. It's about man and lady business, sir. It happens, but usually the guy gets rich in the process. Or should actually be rich himself, but has lost his family property unjustly, like during the revolution or something. Those are unhappy books, for most of the pages. People sad about what they have lost. Maybe some about other...
Hello again, esteemed officer, and welcome to Crime Red. Okay, but please, only a few questions. You wouldn't want to disturb the spirit. It's not good to talk about the curse, not in detail. The negativism, it's dangerous. Talking about the void wraiths angers them.
Such wraiths may prove a formidable enemy. Suit up.
The curse is so much worse than you could imagine. It's a disease, eating at the very foundation. It's the curse of financial distress, of ruin and bankruptcy. It's not just that, officer. We're dealing with something supernatural here. There's something wrong with this building, I can tell you. Ever since I arrived, I've sensed an eerie, lingering presence, as if I was unwanted here. Yes, I've contacted numerous parapsychologists, and even a pair of Simonese mediators. They provided me with the wards. The wards help to keep the doom at bay and protect us against the darkness that lies further in the building, even though now I fear it's not enough. Oh, this? No, it's a special Himian amulet, blessed by desert pygmy shamans, with a spell of compulsion. It's to compel people to buy books. There are numerous spells cast throughout the store. I had the books anointed with a different inducement spell, for example. It's guaranteed to boost sales 15%. Yes, the Simonese are very crafty, and their wards are extremely powerful. Lesser wards simply won't do here.
The woman before you scans the store. Tiles on the cube are still smoldering. Like a smooth draw, the filament slides into place. The speaker comes to life.
Good afternoon. Fortress accident en rue de Saint-Ghislaine. Please repeat. Is this the production schedule? Good. Please repeat the password. Good. I've unlocked the production schedule. After ending the call, please press print to...
Really? She just used the same password?
Fortress Accident. Is there anything else I can... Fortress Accident is the company on whose name the terminal you are currently using has been registered to. One moment. Fortress Accident SCA produces revolutionary interactive call-in radio games. That's what the catalog says. Any other questions? Yes, I am alive. I am 74 years old and my name is Yvonne.
She repeats passwords. Programming people are all paranoid.
They are merely cautious. It's my job to protect their filaments as a password repeater at the East Insulindian Station. I work as a repeater at the East Insulindian Repeater Station. It's my job to know where you are, Fortress Accident. As for me, well, I am sitting in my cubicle, surrounded by a wall of radios.
On an island on the river Esperance, a small woman, all skin and bones, sits in a room filled with audio equipment. Thousands of tiny lights.
Now, please tell me if there's anything else I can do, Fortress Accident. Thank you, and goodbye.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering. With a quiet determination, the printer starts printing, a piece of paper unfolding like a handheld fan. A black crisscross of letters covers its surface. It's a project report written by the lead producer, Andrew Andy Schott, about Whirl Untethered, a radio game developed by Studio Fortress Accident. The first few pages give an overview of the capital and workforce, while the rest of it seems to be a production schedule. In its short time of existence, Fortress Accident SCA managed to burn through truly insane amounts of money. The first tranche of seed financing brought in 150,000 Ria, but then came the delays. Eventually, the damage reached 400,000 Ria, with only half of the game finished.
400,000 Real? You're my yo. These guys knew how to party.
Let's just say it was a real adventure for their Igaunian investor. Fortress Accident employed 18 people, the bulk of the team composed of writers and concept artists. There were also radio programmers, sound engineers, a CEO, 2 marketing experts, and a single overburdened producer who developed a habit of popping Pyrrolidon in the basement to escape his obligations.
But on the other hand, their obligations were piling up at an inhumane rate, a rate that could only be amended by Pyrrolidon.
The production schedule depicts their glorious descent into bankruptcy. It was impossible not to fail. The project was too large, and no amount of money could satiate the ever-expanding ambitions of the development team. They tried to make a 4 million Real game with 400,000 in their bank account. They thought they could bridge the gap with pure willpower and imagination. They couldn't. No, you couldn't have. Definitely not. Not a chance. Even then, success remained within an ever-narrowing margin of possibility that, despite everything, never entirely disappeared. That is, until they discovered the Valley of the Heads. At the 11th hour, the lead designer, Jimsk-born Sulisław Jalisa, decided that what Whirl Untethered needed was a secret mystical location at the extreme edge of the map. This place was to be the Valley of the Heads, where the heads of all the headless constructs could be found. The player would have been able to choose a head for their headless party member, and each head would have been voiced on air by a professional actor. The world had never seen their kind before, and might never again. So many. The last count, there were approximately 10,000 heads for 10,000 headless men. all of which could be endlessly recombined. Do you really want to know? There seems to be a calculation here. The lieutenant taps his... He's dying for a cigarette. What if you broke the radio computer? What if it's never going to stop? Well, yeah, that and the catastrophic data loss. On the nature of the data loss, there's ominously little information in the production log. It comes at the very end, where things get fuzzy and dark, where tables and numbers seem to vanish into an eerie nothingness, before the Egonian investors pulled the plug. What is clear is that one day an unidentified numeric anomaly occurred on the East Insulindian lintel front, just as the Wirral Untethered project was being compiled that day. When the project was returned, it was completely blank. The team spent weeks on the phone with Lintel, the service provider, but despite their diagnostics, they could never produce a satisfactory explanation or pay for the loss. Mysteriously enough, it seems that the off-site copy happened to be on-site when the catastrophic data loss occurred. It was the lead programmer's responsibility to oversee weekly maintenance of the off-site copy and, well, keep it off-site. An explanatory note from the lead programmer has been attached. S. Luukinen Kilda, the lead programmer of Fortress Accident. The off-site copy was on-site because there was no off-site anymore. Not for me, not after 8 months of crunch. I didn't have a home anymore, so I started keeping it in the basement in the ice bear refrigerator near where I went to sleep. It was perfectly safe there. The temperature conditions were optimal. That's not what her colleagues thought. She's right, actually. Nothing wrong with keeping this type of filament memory in a fridge. The production schedule ends with a few random notes that seem to be added sometime later. 4 months later, by an unknown author. I am the only one left, and it's gotten rather damp here. A few other businesses have gone under, too. Slipstream switched to making skis, and the hairdressers just left, cursing Martinez. They're right, though. Something's seriously wrong with this place. Martinez, all of it. Still haven't got an answer from Lintel about what happened. All I could get were the physical coordinates of the error on the East Insulindian front on that day. Since the computation happened on air, I reckoned it had to coincide with an actually existing location. I have compared the coordinates to a map of Revachol West. Turns out it's only 800 meters from here. The address is Saint-Brun 1147. I am going there to look this thing in the eye. Saint-Brun 1147? That's what the street sign next to the church said. Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. Fluorescent play and print keys shine on the keyboard. The filament slides out of its...
Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a dye? I'm listening. Oh, right. I hope you didn't try to ring me. I think none of those doorbells work, including mine. I'm still in the middle of connecting the wires. Sorry about the confusion. Yes, I guess so. The arcade is an ancient failure, before my time. I'm not surprised how... My advice? Don't base your business on a fad. Hypnotism, fluorography, trick-track, especially pinball. It can't be true. They don't work here anymore. They've been gone for years. Are you sure it was Slipstream SEA? Was it a woman? Maybe it was Plaisance from the bookstore. Tricentennial Electrics? It used to be a major electric company 100 years ago. Are you sure it wasn't just some kids playing a prank on you?
Whatever happened, keep your cool. It's probably better to admit that it was a harmless prank.
Oh, the kids these days. We were just one of them, and now they're terrorizing us. No solidarity. That's right. I haven't even written my name there. As I said, it's quite useless right now. It doesn't work yet. You could say so. Both houses were built at the same time and under the East Delta Commerce Center project. That explains why you can call the whirling from the intercom, albeit I doubt that anyone responds. Sure, I'm listening. I'm pretty sure I'm good.
Your flashlight, some of the writing has this old fireplace. A thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace.
Looks like it. Looks like an old central furnace used to heat the building. It's connected to the chimney. No one has used it in ages.
A few bricks have fallen off, revealing a compartment behind the wall. It
seems like an old bunker from... It means there are firearms.
This orange machine is buzzing like an old submarine. It has
It's you again. What is it?
Hey, was there something you needed? Got the 20 real? Then why are you...
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your clean-shaven face, adorned with the expression. You're still not accustomed to it. The bed is still cold from the break. The window stands broken in it.
Again? I can't believe this shit.
There's something that binds you to him. Yes, nurses. Why not?
Why, yes. Yes, I am a male nurse. How could you tell? Oh, you've done a lot more with ether than just look into it. This was...
Yes?
The man ponders his cooking utensils and he looks up at you, then looks away quickly, shrugging and muttering something to himself. Shrugging is an international... All these mesmerizing machines, just waiting to be plugged back in and played. Feels like it might jump back to life any moment. The lights illuminating the white-robed woman.
Some kind of inane pinball theme, probably related to Messina during the DeLorean age. The history themes are the worst. You can't fire them up. They are broken. Only that one machine in the main hall works. The Royalist Pinball.
What a dumb name. Royalist Pinball. If they weren't broken, he would kick one of these machines about now.
No, I love it. I love pinball. Who doesn't love pinball? Let's move on. No.
Officer, it's a fine day for questions.
This window is pristine on the inside, unlike the one next to it. Light. This window is pristine on the inside. Unlike the one, golden light melts away into the blue, glassy darkness of your mind. In it are two neon-lit shapes, a man and a woman on the single bed. Like the witness said, the man is kneeling, the woman is on her back. It's the night of March 4th and a shot has just been fired. The man looks directly at the woman. The shot's possible directions converge in his mouth. A ray cast from somewhere outside, entering his brain, ending him. From the roof outside, location A prime. The glass fractures around the bullet hole. Shards face inwards like a corona behind the woman's back. The ray cast from the man's mouth unravels into a fan of possible directions, all on the roof at first. The shot could have come from any of them. This is composite location A prime, most likely of the origin points. 72%, with an antique weapon that fires military-grade ammunition, a Belma-grave rifle, for example. This is a good short distance, but not too short. The perpetrator aimed with their back against the railing, or possibly kneeling for precision. This would explain why it only took them one shot. The lights were on in here. Outside it was dark. It was like shooting fish in an aquarium. a well-lit aquarium. The victim opened his mouth to let the bullet in. Neither of them would have seen anything outside, in the darkness, too busy with their own bodies. None that you've found thus far, but that doesn't mean there aren't any. Point X would contradict the woman's testimony, rendering the entire proposition void. These figures would be wiped out, Detective. That's a 28%, yes. In this model, the shot could have come from a greater distance. Nothing excludes the possibility. Should we extrapolate to include every possible point of origin in Martinez? The man does not know the bullet has entered his brain. He never will. Death comes faster than the realization. According to your map of the district, this shot could have come from a wide angle of locations, starting with the northern edge of the abandoned boardwalk, ending with an islet in the bay. Let's call them B prime. B prime for boardwalk, B double prime for Land's End, and B triple prime for the islet, Detective. There may be smaller points in between, but those are too fine to zoom in on. 700 meters away, the likeliest of these B positions, 20% chance. A skilled sniper could have made the shot, provided he had a safe sniper's nest. Even with the light on inside, we're talking military training. At that distance, the perpetrator would have had to take wind direction into account. 1.2 kilometers away, the least likely of these positions, let's say 3%. A truly skilled sniper could have done it, possibly from a tent. No, too far-fetched. 1 kilometer away, a point beyond the docks, on an islet in the bay. The fort is ruined, but the perpetrator may have found a stable spot on the beaches surrounding it, where the concrete crumbles into the sea, as you saw in the coin-operated viewer. The shot would have been a small miracle, 5% likelihood. There is an extremely narrow field of view from the bay to the window, between Rue de Saint-Ghislain 10 and 33A. The angle would have been extreme, and access to the islets is questionable.
From where, precisely? I see you have given this a lot of thought. Are those the locations you've singled out in addition to the roof? And what is the likelihood, in your opinion, that it came from a further distance? Okay, well, we should see if there is gunshot residue or sniper nests if we go down the coast. Rule these spots out one by one. It would be the diligent thing to do. Until then, personally, I'm going with the roof version.